Welcome to the From the Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Shane Grove. And before we get started with this very exciting episode, I just want to remind you that if you can't get enough of the From the Shadows podcast, and let's be honest, who can? Go to our website, fromtheshadowspodcast.com. There's links to all of our social media where you can go hang out, have a lot of fun, post stuff, comment on stuff. You can go find our Patreon page. You can find our store. I think you can buy it. It's probably not too late to get an Ozark Howler t-shirt for Christmas. I mean, who doesn't want one of those? If you hit the contact button, you can send me an email. I will read it and get back to you, especially if you have a story that you want to come on and share. And if you want to get a hold of me another way, you can find me at Shane Grove Author on Instagram, or just send me a message on the other Facebook pages. I'll get back to you. And with that being said, everybody who listens to the show religiously knows that we are based in Ohio and love stories that take place in Ohio. Not against anything that takes place anywhere else, but we have a special place in our heart for stories from Ohio. And so joining us from the great state of Ohio is Theresa to share some great stories from the great state of Ohio. So Theresa, welcome to the From the Shadows podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, anytime I get a email that says Dogman story, I'm like, okay, great, let's go. Let's hear. And what's so great is this turned into way more than a Dogman story. So I'm very excited for our listeners to hear some of the crazy stuff that you have had happen to you. So I'm going to let you take it away, and then let's start with the Dogman.
Okay. So the Dogman, I had a Dogman sighting in around 2021. I lived up near Hoover Reservoir, out right in Galena, Ohio, and I was in the country. We do have houses sort of close, maybe 5 or 3 acres between each house, but there is a lot of woods, a lot of water, and a road that's not well traveled or lit. So I was coming home from work one evening. I'm thinking it was like late August, early September. The windows were up, so it had to be a little bit cool. And it was getting dusk, but I could still see everything clearly. It wasn't dark yet. And ahead of me, after I rounded the curve, right before my house, I'm going to say it was probably half a mile from my house, there's a field on the left and woods and a field on the right side of the road. And I saw in the middle of the road what I thought was a dog. It was gray colored, furry, had a German Shepherd head and a long snout. And the hair was pretty much short except around its neck. It was a little bit longer. It was walking on all fours at that time. And I in my head, I was thinking it must be a dog, and then it's registering that's really a big dog. And I don't know of anybody around here that has a big dog like that, but I'm thinking it has to be a dog because I didn't know anything about Dogman at that time. It never stood up. It never really looked at my direction. It just went across the road. It just meandered across the road. It didn't run. It didn't, like I said, it didn't pay attention to me. So I went in my house that day and that was it. And a couple of days, I think it was like a day or two later, I was going outside. It was probably about the same time of evening. And I always walked with my friend. We had a little road that went back in our neighborhood. It was just went right by our house. And she was about, I'm going to say 3 acres, football field, maybe a football field away from me. And she's at the end of the driveway waiting on me to come down to meet her. And we start walking back and forth. We'll walk a mile. And I had my little dog with me and go out to the edge of the driveway. And when I turned to go down the road, there was a terribly loud, very deep growl. And I stopped. It was the most horrific growl I've ever heard in my life. It stopped me dead in my tracks. Stopped my dog. I turned around, looking across the street where that dog man had crossed. It was right there where he crossed. I think it was coming from there. And I'm looking around. I can't see anything. It didn't growl again. But in my head, I'm like, that has to be my boys. They were teenagers at that time. They're playing a trick on me or something. And so I yelled their name. Of course, they didn't answer because they weren't out there. And the neighbor who's down the street, however far that was, she yelled at me, "What the hell was that?" So she heard it. That's how loud it was, clear down there. And I said, "I don't know, but go back in your house." So I went back in the house. We did not walk. The next week, I didn't walk because I was so scared of that thing. But um, I never saw it again. I never heard it again. Um, I did kind of look up on the internet if there's been any other sightings out there. And there was someone who saw what they thought was a wolf around that time. And I also saw something about a dog creature around Hoover Reservoir. And I don't know the details of that. I just saw that online somewhere. So I don't know if it's something that stays over there because we are, like I said, we are really close to Hoover.
So how big, like how big do you think this thing was, that you didn't think that it was just a regular dog?
So I used to have a Great Dane. He was a
Okay.
big Great Dane. So I to get this in some kind of so I can figure that out, I was thinking my Great Dane, when he walked behind me, could put his nose between my shoulder blades. When he stood up, yeah, he was a big one. When he stood up, I had to look up at him, right? So I'm thinking that the dog man was probably a little bit bigger than him. I would say it was probably 300, maybe 300 pounds. I don't know. And I think if it would have stood up based on my Great Dane, I'm thinking he was going to be at least 6 to 7 foot tall when it stood up. It was big. It was a big, big dog, you know? But at the time, I had not really heard of a dog man. I've heard of werewolves, but my mind didn't go there because those aren't real. So I'm trying to figure out what kind of dog is that, right? In my head. So my mind just accepted the fact that it was a big dog until the night I heard it growl. And then I started getting online and reading about cryptids. I got interested in cryptids, and that's when I found out about the Dogman. And then it just connected for me. Like everything connected when I started reading about Dogman.
Yeah, because I mean, some people have sightings, and I mean, typically Dogman sightings are attributed to something that's standing on two legs, and a lot of them either come up off of 4 and get onto 2, or vice versa, start on 2 and get down. But I think from some of the people that I've talked to recently, and I mean, now there'll be people listening say, "Oh, you can't call that a dog man. That's just a dog, or that's a wolf, and she didn't know what she was seeing." But I don't think from the size that you can, with the way you're describing, another eyewitness description, you can just say it's just a regular dog. Because, and I mean, I don't know, can we call it a dog man? I don't know, but that seems like maybe a good enough term.
The growl was so loud. There's no way a dog could have done that.
Well, and if you had a dog in your possession, you're walking your dog, and there was another dog and that big, the dog would just come get you. Yeah. I don't think a dog. I mean, it's no secret. I'm a mailman. Dogs that are going to attack you don't really give you a whole lot of warning. They just come and get you. Right. And so I don't.
And my dog's reaction to it was he hid behind me, like he ran behind me and hid. So I had to pick him up to run into the house. But he's one who thinks he's a pit bull. Normally he's standing up to the other dogs, the bigger dogs, and trying to tell them he's the boss, but he did not. He went behind me and hid. So I don't know. It could be a weirdly large dog, but I don't think so. It had gray fur. It was gray fur, kind of like a timber wolf would have gray fur.
Well, it's interesting that there was other sightings at that same time, and that there's been sightings around Hoover Reservoir of something too. I'd be curious to to dig into that a little deeper and see what some of those stories are, and if there's somebody listening from Ohio that is in that area, what they've maybe experienced out there too. But
Yeah.
I think you're probably the smartest thing you did is go back inside. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And so nothing else. So you've seen nothing else like that as you're
I
driving.
have not seen anything else like that or heard anything like that ever since then. I've not heard anybody talk about seeing anything up there since then either. Um, at night, my dogs, when I lived there, they would just go crazy, wanting outside, growling, barking, trying to get outside in the middle of the night. And I just figured it was probably coyotes out there or something. And they're just, but I've never got up and looked outside to see if I saw anything. I just assumed it was coyotes or something out there. But they did quite often, at least once a week, have they would go crazy at night.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's one. Yeah, that's one I'd like to hear some more stuff about from the area for sure,
Yeah.
and
I would
see
too. Yeah.
and see if we can get to the bottom of something.
Mhm.
Something for sure.
Mhm.
So, okay, so the next thing I want is something you called the mom thing.
Yeah.
So, to all you moms out there, this is not supposed to be disparaging to you, but I think this is a story I'm super interested in everybody hearing because I think there's going to be some people that have had the same experience as what you're going to share. So I want to hear, let's hear it.
Okay. So, my mom lived in Woodsfield, Ohio, and it's about 2.5 hours from Columbus area. She lived in the rural area, a couple houses nearby, but mostly it's the Appalachian Mountains. She lived on top of the one of the big mountains, and there was just woods all around her house. And I would go visit with my kids. I had 5 kids, and we'd go down there and stay. And she would just spoil us rotten, make us all our favorite food. We'd go shopping. She'd buy everybody something. We'd watch movies. I mean, it was just a nice, relaxing weekend, and we spent time with her that way. And she spoiled us. So, um, one evening after we had been out running around and everything, I had the kids in bed. Mom and I were up visiting. And about 11, I would say 11 o'clock, we decided to go to bed. So I went into the bedroom, one of her guest bedrooms, and I was in there by myself. And I fell asleep pretty fast. I was pretty tired. And I don't know what woke me up. I don't know why I woke up around, I'm going to say between 2 and 3. And I looked over toward the door. And standing in the door was this thing that was the height of my mom. She had the nightgown on that my mom had on. It had her exact hair. It looked just like my mom, but the face was they were smiling. They were like looking over, like smiling at me and grinning. And it looked just like the clown from It, the movie from 2017 with the actor Bill Skarsgård. Is that his
Yeah,
name?
Bill Skarsgård. Yeah.
Hmm. It looked just like him without the makeup. I had that smile, and those eyes were looking at me just like that. And I screamed so loud. And about, I don't know, 10 seconds later, my mom came, my real mom. When I screamed, I closed my eyes when I screamed. When I opened my eyes, it was gone. But my real mom was coming in the room, and said, "What happened? What's wrong?" And I just told her I had a nightmare because I couldn't explain that to her. Like, you were just here and you scared the shit out of me. I don't know. Um, so that has bothered me. That memory has bothered me forever. So moving forward, my mother passed away in 2000. And in about, I think it was, I'm going to say around 2008, 2009, I was in bed in my home in Sunbury, Ohio. And again, sleeping. And I, for some reason, was woke up, same time frame, like between 2 and 3. I looked over at the door, and there was that same mom thing, standing in the door, looking at me the same way that it looked the first time. And I, when I looked over and saw it, I kind of got angry at it because I'd been dreading it for so long, and there it is again, right, bugging me again. So I stood up from the bed, and when I stood up from the bed, I had to turn my back to the door to stand. And so I stood up, and when I turned around, it was gone. But when I stood up, I yelled, "Oh, hell no!" And I stood up, turned to face it, and it was gone. Now I haven't seen it since, but I just know I'm going to. I know I am. I can't tell you how I know that, but it's not gone. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mimic. I don't know if it's demonic. I know it's not good. And that's not my mom. My mom would never scare me like that. So I would love to know if anybody else has had that kind of experience and what they think it is, because I know I need to get rid of it. Still don't look at the door if I wake up at night. I don't look at the door.
Well, and so when you said it reminded you of the creature or the clown in it, this all happened long before that movie ever came out.
Yes.
And so when was it?
When I saw that clown on ads for that movie, I freaked out because that is the clown face that I saw in my room, right? That was freaky. Yeah.
So like the first time, how long did you get a good look at it? Like, how long did you look?
I probably stared at that thing for maybe five to 10 seconds. I was kind of blinking, like, am I seeing that? And then I was thinking in my head, is that mom? Is that my mom? Like, trying to figure out what was real and what wasn't real. And am I seeing something that's really just mom? And I'm, because I just woke up, but I definitely was awake. I can tell you that I was not dreaming. So I probably stared at it a good 10 seconds, and it didn't move. It just stood there with its head down, grinning with its eyes, looking at me like that.
So like it didn't like lean in or it didn't like shift its weight. It just stood there. Like, did it like make any kind of facial expression? Like it knew you were like,
I think it was grinning like that and looking at me like that because I think it liked my fear. It liked that. It likes to torment me and make me scared. It did not move. It did not shift its weight. It did not turn its head or anything. It just stood there and looked at me both times. Both times.
And so the first time, when we were talking, I had mentioned I believe about all the stories that I had been talking to people about mimics, and especially in Appalachia, where people saw them. There was people that I had talked to that had seen themselves, and were like totally freaked out. So that's one thing to be at your mom's house, but why on earth do you think you saw it outside of Columbus then, which is not anywhere near Appalachia?
I think whatever it is following me in particular. I don't think it had to do anything with her house or my mom. It just used my mom to torment me, the look of her. So I don't think it has anything to do with really Appalachia. I think it has more to do is it's just likes to torment me, haunt me. I'm going to call it haunt because I don't know what else to call it, but it likes to bother me. It takes great fun at that. I'm pretty sure of it.
So, I mean, I would just be curious if maybe you made a concerted effort just to look and try to see it again.
Well, if it would have stayed there when I stood up, I was going to go over to it, but it left. I was going after it. I was done with it.
But I'm saying maybe you just get this next encounter like a Band-Aid, rip it off. Because it's been a while. I mean, that would be the worst. That'd be the worst part, is feeling that it's going to show up again and then never, and not having a clue as to when it is just going to.
I think that is an excellent point. I think that it is here and it's watching me, and it knows every night I'm tormented, worrying that it's going to show up. It likes to scare me. So I think it's going to show up again, but it's enjoying watching me like wonder when it's going to come and not want to see it, and probably enjoying me talking to you about it today. It's probably liking it, you know?
Teresa, I gotta be honest, if I wake up tomorrow morning and I see somebody in a nightgown that's not my wife standing at the door, I'm going to be very angry.
Sorry.
Oh, jeez. So now experiencing stuff like this, I mean, this isn't something new, right? I mean, I think
No.
we talked. You've had some different things happen over the years that would be considered extremely paranormal. What are some of the other things that have taken place that would be super strange?
Um, at the house where I saw the mom thing the second time, um, like I don't put my hands or legs over the bed, side of the bed anymore because I was being pull my hands and pull my arm, pull my leg. Um, and just I hear people call my name. I hear, um, just the normal. I call it the normal stuff that when you hear the paranormal, when you see it, um, and it does interest me a lot. Um, my aunt had died when I was young. I was 17. She was one of my favorite aunts. And my mom was devastated. And I went to stay with some friends that night because she was upset. I was upset and I needed to get out of the house. So I went to my friend's house and again, I was sleeping. Woke up and my aunt was at the bottom of the bed looking at me. And I threw the blanket back over my head. I didn't look back out. But when she was looking at me, she was mad. Like she was mad. I don't know why she would have been mad, but she was not happy. She was pissed. And I didn't ask her.
I mean, was she mad that she had passed away, or?
Um, I'm not quite sure. I don't know why she would have been angry. Maybe people looked at her. She had committed suicide. So I don't know if people were going the wrong path as to why that happened, or maybe there was foul play. I'm still not sure about all of that. There's a lot of rumors about that. I don't know the truth at this time. So maybe she was angry because people were getting it wrong. Maybe she was angry that she did it. I don't know. And why is she coming to me? I'm just a kid. I can't help her.
Well, I mean, maybe she, like she knew that you could see her.
Yeah. Oh, I saw her at the bottom of the bed.
Jeez. Now, has there been anybody else that you can, or any other quote unquote spirits that you can remember seeing over from your youth on?
Um, when I was a young child, I don't know what age I would have been. I was young. I used to have a mammy, I call her the mammy, come and sit on my bed. And she was a black woman and she had on colonial looking clothes with an apron and one of those little caps on her head.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd sit on the bed and she would just pat my legs at night. She never said anything. She would just pat my leg. I would tell my mom these things and she would tell me I was dreaming, you know. Yeah, you were just dreaming. I said, no, mom, there's a mammy in my room and she's patting my leg. And
Now, did you guys live in a place that that she might have lived prior, or on some land that maybe she lived on?
we lived in town. And we lived right on the Ohio River. So, there was a lot of
Mm, yeah.
uh, little towns up and down the river and people making, because that was their main transportation for goods and things. So, I mean, it's highly likely that she could have been. People ask me a lot, why I see things or why when I go places I see things. And I don't know if anybody else agrees with this, but I feel like there's so many spirits in this world because there's been billions of people who have died. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just because you're in a haunted house or there's just so many. You don't have to be, they don't really have to haunt me. We can just
Mm-hmm.
see them because they're there wanting to be seen. It's not, although the mom thing I think is haunting me, but that's the only one I think haunts me.
So by the time you saw that, at least on a couple different occasions, you had an interaction with a spirit or with somebody who had passed.
Mm-hmm.
And so you definitely wonder if that thing knew, well, I know she's going to see me and I'm going to, maybe that person just wanted help and it doesn't have a very good smile.
The mom thing?
Yeah.
No.
But so a lot of, I know some people who have the gift or the curse, however you want to look at it, of being psychic mediums. And they say, and they both told me a couple times that, they have to make a declaration of leave me alone. I'm not open for business, because it's like they're a beacon to all these spirits, and the spirits are like, oh, that person can see me. I can maybe talk to them and get them a message, or they just want to be seen or heard.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever gotten a message or anything from anybody? Or
I can look at something and know what happened without talking, like kind of telepath, or I can just feel what's going on. Like one of them, people are going to think I'm a nut, but one of them came to me. It was a man. He looked so very sad, and he was dressed in the, I'm going to say 1920s, and I knew this just by looking at him. He had been in prison, and he didn't do what he was accused of doing. He was innocent, and he did die in prison, and he just was so sad. He was just so miserable that it made me sad when I saw him. But I don't carry on conversations with them.
So it was like you knew all that, you got all that information from him just from a feeling of
just looking at him and in his eyes. I could just tell it. I just knew.
Wow. And that's gotta be I can't imagine that. I mean, that's kind of like a burden to be able to.
Honestly, after the mom thing, I shut that down. I have shut that down. I don't even know if I could. I still have things happen, but nothing like those things anymore. I have shut that down. I don't even know if I can restart it if I wanted to, because I have just pushed it.
I'll bet you can restart. I bet you can restart. I think once you have that it's not like it's not like I've lost all my physical ability to go back on the football field and run a football. Okay, I think you can probably go into a old farmhouse and talk to a ghost. I don't think it's quite the same.
Yeah.
I don't think you've aged out of your abilities.
I guess, and there's certain ways I have to concentrate to be able to see it too. And I just don't do that anymore. I just don't put myself in that kind of a mindset to be able to see them.
And you go back to, well, and you said you kind of shut it off, but you go back and you wonder, so that big dog-like creature, was that, was that something you were experiencing that wasn't really in this realm, other than the growl the next night that the neighborhood heard? But I mean, I often wonder, like, if because people always question about like Bigfoot being able to, they call it mind speak or whatever. But if we think Bigfoot is part human or has some human traits to him, and some human beings have the ability to, read minds or have ESP or whatever, then why couldn't some of these creatures, or why couldn't they present themselves if they were paranormal, if they were ghosts,
I feel like they probably could. I don't know. I've not really seen a Bigfoot or anything about the Bigfoot, just a track, but I think that they probably could talk to us telepathically if they wanted to. I don't know. I don't know.
Now, speaking of the track, we got a picture. I got a picture you sent me. Explain where you took this picture, and I mean, because this is kind of an interesting picture for sure. I mean, I'm not sure what this is, but I can tell you what it looks like.
I I showed that picture to my family and they all told me I was crazy. So it might not be anything. I don't know. I'm just
Okay.
showing you what I got.
Okay.
So my dog and I went to Salt Fork State Park about, I would say maybe 3 weeks ago. Just it was still kind of warm and I decided we needed to get out before it got cold. So we went down to the state park and we were walking around, went to the woods, through the woods a little bit, and we were getting ready to leave and I wanted to see the cabins to see what they looked like in case I wanted to rent one. So I rode down by the cabins and I went past all the cabins to the very end of the road. There's like a little roundabout thing. You can turn around down there. And I parked the car right by the lake. These cabins are beautiful. I'm going to definitely rent one. So I got the dog out of the car just to go down by the lake, let him relieve himself before we got back in the car to come back to Columbus. And we're down there. They have like a yard out by the last cabin. And there was like a 2-foot drop to like a muddy beach right by the lake, right? So I took the dog, we went down on that muddy beach and we were walking back and forth and there was this, I call it a track, a footprint on the mud there by the lake. And I thought it looked like had toes and a heel. I mean, it looked like it. It was pressed down pretty far into the mud.
Mm-hmm.
And my theory is that whatever it was jumped off of that 2-foot tall little ledge, landed on that foot with all of its weight, which has to be pretty heavy for it to go that far down on the ground. And then it went forward, which made the toe marks that you can kind of see pretty well. And the second foot down had to go into the lake. So that was the first step. And then the second step had to go to the lake because it was really close to the lake. That's why I can't find any other prints. I think it went into the lake. But that's, like I said, I don't know if it's a Bigfoot track or a print, but it looks like one to me. I wish I would have had cast stuff. I could have cast it. I don't know how to do that yet, but I'm just going to start taking it with me when I go out and about.
Well,
I wasn't even looking for that.
Well, for my 2 cents, it definitely looks to me like there's toes.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And and how deep that looks.
It had to be.
Yeah. I mean, it looks even deeper than that to me. I mean, and I'm not some little dude, and I'm not sure I'm not putting a footprint 2 feet deep, even in big work boots and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll put the picture up. Everybody can check it out, see what they think. And
I'm just full of it. I could be. I don't know.
Well, trust me, if people think you're full of it, they'll tell you.
Oh, it's okay.
No, nobody's gonna be bashful, but no, I'm glad that you got your eyes open and are looking for stuff like that because it's important, and even if it isn't anything, okay. I mean, it certainly does look like it's something. So it's not like there's not a million sightings of Bigfoot over in that neck of the woods. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I've heard there are some over there, but
it's very possible. I was
going to try to clean the leaves out of that print, and I started to, but it was really muddy, and I just didn't want to mess with it, and I wasn't even sure if I was seeing what I was seeing. So I just took the picture, and I'll just let other people look at it and tell me what they think.
Well, I'm glad you took it and shared it Sure. Well, before we sign off, is there anything else that you want to share?
I think I've shared quite enough.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you coming on, and I'm very curious to see the responses to the mom thing, especially.
I would like to have people let me know what they think about the mom thing, and see if anybody else has had any kind of experience with that sort of.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that have had experiences with seeing stuff that they can't explain. But it's really weird that it was dressed dressed like your mom, and you
exact same nightgown she had on. It looked just like her, except for the smile and its eyes, and the way it held its head down like that. It just, I was like trying to focus, like, is that mom or?
That's just creepy. I gotta be honest. Honest. Well, Theresa, I appreciate you reaching out and coming on and sharing. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of responses we get to, what's running around Hoover Reservoir, and who else has seen something crazy in their bedroom that they can talk about. You know what I'm saying? We gotta keep it clean here. So.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm looking forward to hearing some of the comments to see of what I can find out.
Yes. So great. So get a hold of us if you've seen something or experienced anything. So
I will.
So all right, and if you see the mom thing again, try to get a picture or something first.
Okay.
Right.
I'll try.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.